Welcome to Chapter 2, Flying in the Troposphere. Today we'll explore the science and mystery behind our planet's skies, drawing insights from the book, The Sixth Extinction, by Marko Vovk. If you're interested in learning more, you'll find a link below. As the Anunnaki ship approached Earth, its sensors pierced the outer atmosphere, revealing a veil of floating nanoparticles.
Fascinating. The upper atmosphere contains nitrogen, oxygen, argon, carbon dioxide, and trace amounts of other gases. However, these readings show high levels of aluminum oxide, barium, strontium, carbon, and sulfur.
Oceans and trees matter too. Oceans fuel evaporation, and trees release vapor through transpiration. Both fill the air with moisture for clouds.
These metals come from burning fuels, factories, ships, planes. Each leaves residual pollutants behind.
In 2025, jets burned JP-8 fuel containing aluminum, barium, and strontium. 30,000 flights a day left exhaust trails in the sky. JP-8 fuel came from oil. Oil is derived from the remains of ancient microscopic plants and animals, primarily algae and zooplankton. These remnants were buried under layers of sediment millions of years ago and transformed by heat and pressure into crude oil. The black, heavy liquid is refined for use in jets, ships, and cars. Burning this fuel polluted the air.
Where did all this oil come from?
They drilled deep underground. In 2025, Earth had approximately 1.6 trillion barrels of oil remaining. Oil was one of Earth's largest commodities. Control over oil often sparked conflict.
They fought wars over oil.
Yes, according to Earth's data, there have been at least 10 major wars described as oil wars in the world, including the Iran-Iraq War, Gulf War, Iraq War, Chaco War, Biafran War, and conflicts in the Niger Delta. The total number of deaths from these wars is estimated in the millions, with the Biafran War alone causing about 2 million deaths, and the Gulf War up to 100,000. Millions of humans die from fighting for dead plants and dinosaurs.
How many vehicles use this fuel?
In 2025, Earth had 39,000 commercial aircraft, 100,000 ships, and 1.4 billion cars and trucks. Most ran on petroleum, which came from oil.
The crew fell silent, absorbing the scale of Earth's fossil fuel addiction.
Jets used many fuels. Jet fuel types are chosen based on temperature and safety needs. Jet A1 is used for cold flights, which means flying at high altitudes or in cold climates where ordinary fuel might freeze. Its low freezing point keeps it liquid in these conditions. Military planes use JP-5 because it has a high flash point, making it much safer on aircraft carriers where fire risk is high. For Arctic operations, planes use Jet B, which remains liquid at low temperatures such as minus 76 degrees Celsius, preventing fuel from freezing in the harshest environments.
Humans saw these jet exhaust fume trails as contrails or chemtrails. Some believed in secret plots.
Conspiracy theorists claimed the trails spread viruses or controlled populations.
You know, the word conspiracy has really changed in definition over the years. Before the JFK assassination, a conspiracy was just a secret agreement between two or more people to commit an unlawful or harmful act, often for political or criminal purposes. But after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in 1963, the term conspiracy started to mean the belief that powerful groups secretly plot to achieve hidden, often malevolent goals. The phrase is now frequently used to describe and, well, sometimes discredit such suspicions. The word conspiracy basically became a tool to silence doubters.
The definition changed. People who questioned the news or truth were labeled conspiracists.
The real goal why humans added metals to the atmosphere was for weather modification. Humans learned to manipulate their climate.
He sped through hundreds of records.
Thousands of patents exist for weather control inventions. A patent gives you exclusive rights to your creation.
So, invent it, patent it, and you own the skies?
Yes.
Atera's data flickered across the holoscreen, displaying a web of companies. Weather Modification, Incorporated, North American Weather Consultants, RHS Consulting, Ice Crystal Engineering, Meteo Systems, Atmospheric Systems Corporation, Snowy Hydro Limited, Rainmaker Technology Corporation, and the Panhandle Groundwater Conservation District.
These are the big players. They fly planes, run ground generators, and deploy the latest tech to make rain, boost snowfall, stop hail, and fight drought, reshaping the weather in countries all over the globe.
How did they learn such things?
From us. Our ancestors, the Anunnaki, came to Earth to mine gold. We aerosolized gold and released it into our atmosphere to shield against the sun's radiation when our orbit brings us close every 3,600 years. We created humans to help mine, build cities, and cultivate the land. They must have learned weather modification from us. We never expected Earthlings to advance so far.
Humans studied our ancient hieroglyphic scrolls and artwork. They deciphered Sumerian, Egyptian, and Mayan records. By the 1900s, they began changing the weather with machines. Cloud generators made snow and rain. Rockets launched nanometals into the sky. Radar and ionic sky heaters moved storms and steered tornadoes away from cities and nuclear plants. They used giant ocean ships burning kerosene bunker fuel to create dark clouds. Ionic heaters expelled floating soot particles, forming or pushing clouds and shifting jet streams. Some countries, like China, redirected what they called rivers of water vapor to deserts, helping crops grow.
Precipitable water is the vapor above you, about 12 gallons. Near the equator, a river in the sky circles Earth, bringing rain to crops and lakes.
China built mountaintop furnaces to make silver iodide for rain. They increased rainfall over an area 3 times the size of Spain, turning dry land green.
The crew listened, awestruck by human ingenuity and the risks it entailed.
They tried cooling the planet by dumping sulfur from balloons, copying volcanoes. Bill Gates patented the idea.
They kept these projects secret, calling anyone who spoke out conspiracists. During the Vietnam War, they sprayed Agent Orange, destroying forests and poisoning millions.
Agent Orange was a toxic herbicide, a blend of chemicals designed to strip away jungle cover. From 1962 to 1971, the US military sprayed more than 19 million gallons of it across Vietnam, enough to cover the entire country over 4 times. They used aircraft in missions called Operation Ranch Hand, and had planes nicknamed Patches for these runs. So, it didn't just kill plants. Agent Orange contained dioxin, which is one of the most toxic substances known. It ruined crops, contaminated water, and honestly left behind a trail of illness. The Vietnamese government estimates up to 4 million people were exposed, and as many as 3 million suffered illnesses, cancers, congenital disabilities, and other diseases. The United States Department of Veterans Affairs presumes that any American who served in Vietnam was exposed and at risk.
What happened to the people who made it?
Well, many companies made Agent Orange, including Dow Chemical, Monsanto, and Kodak in Rochester, New York. Workers at these plants and residents in nearby towns developed illnesses. In Kodak Park, for example, entire neighborhoods became clusters of rare cancers and autoimmune diseases. One worker, Ramona Miller, blamed her chronic health problems and her daughter's disabilities on years spent handling toxic chemicals at Kodak. In Niagara Falls' Love Canal neighborhood, dioxin contamination caused a wave of illness and forced families to flee their homes.
So the danger wasn't just in Vietnam?
Not at all. Dioxin from Agent Orange manufacturing contaminated rivers, soil, and air in the United States and Canada. In New Jersey, the Diamond Alkali plant left the Passaic River so polluted that it became a Superfund site. Workers at plants in West Virginia and New York developed cancers, chloroquine, and other diseases years after exposure. The people making Agent Orange sometimes didn't even know the risks. They just knew their towns were getting sick.
They almost annihilated an entire country and poisoned their people too.
What happened with Agent Orange is a warning about the hidden costs of secret projects and toxic technology.
What about the aluminum oxide, strontium, and beryllium we're detecting in Earth's atmosphere? Was that safe?
No. Aluminum and other metallic or chemical particles fell back to Earth with gravity and rain, polluting food and water. People got sick, but most illnesses weren't documented, and many who were affected never knew the cause. The most common problems included respiratory issues, neurological symptoms, skin irritation, bone disorders, and, in the case of beryllium, chronic lung disease and cancer. Strontium could cause bone disorders, if radioactive, while beryllium exposure was known to trigger serious lung inflammation and skin sensitization.
So the aluminum got into people's bodies?
Yes, it built up in the body, sometimes acting almost like a parasite. One rare illness that appeared was called Morgellons disease. People reported fibers poking through their skin, intense pain, fatigue, and strange crawling sensations. They would pick at these fibers, trying to remove them with baths or creams, but nothing worked. The disease first appeared in the early 2000s and was marked by fibers in the skin lesions, fatigue, pain, and cognitive problems.
Did doctors believe them?
Most of the medical industry dismissed Morgellons as a psychiatric condition, often blaming drug use or mental illness. Many patients were told it was all in their heads or that drugs like crack cocaine or methamphetamine caused it. These drugs also lead to skin picking, sores, and scabs.
As images of humans picking at their skin flashed across the screen, UTU leaned forward, unsettled.
Why do meth users pick at their skin so much?
Methamphetamine changes how the brain works. It can cause a sensation called formication, like bugs crawling under the skin. People call them meth mites or crank bugs. To get relief, users compulsively scratch and pick at their skin when there's nothing there. This leads to open sores and scabs.
That sounds painful. But do they eat their scabs?
It's rare, but it does happen. Some meth users believe that traces of the drug are in their blood and, by extension, in their scabs. They might eat them, hoping to get another high, though it doesn't work. Others do it because meth can cause obsessive-compulsive behaviors, like pica, the urge to eat non-food items. The psychological effects of meth are powerful and can lead to bizarre, self-destructive actions.
That's disturbing. What happens to people who keep picking and eating their scabs?
It's hazardous. Open wounds can get infected, leading to serious health problems. Chronic picking causes permanent scars, and eating scabs can spread blood-borne diseases. It's a cycle that's hard to break, made worse by the drug's hold on the brain.
So the scabs could make them high again? That's unbelievable.
They used weather modification for many reasons, didn't they?
Yes. During Chernobyl's meltdown in 1986, radioactive clouds carrying dangerous isotopes like iodine-131 and cesium-137 spread across Europe. The Soviets saw one of these plumes heading straight for Moscow, a city of over 8 million people. To stop it, they used a massive system called the Duga radar, nicknamed the Russian woodpecker. Originally, it was built as an over-the-horizon radar to detect incoming missiles, but it could also be used to heat the ionosphere and influence weather.
The woodpecker sent out powerful microwave pulses, about 10 per second, at very high energy levels. When these microwaves interact with the ionosphere, they create artificial plasma layers and heat the surrounding air. By focusing this energy, they could create high-pressure zones that changed wind patterns. During the Chernobyl disaster, they used this method to push the radioactive cloud away from Moscow and toward rural areas in Ukraine and Belarus.
How does heating the ionosphere move clouds?
When you heat the ionosphere with microwaves, it excites the particles in the air, creating plasma. This heated air rises, altering air pressure and potentially shifting wind currents. The Soviets used truck-mounted microwave generators to beam energy into the sky in specific patterns, punching the atmosphere to steer the radioactive cloud.
But by saving Moscow, they just sent the problem somewhere else.
That's right. Moscow was spared, but villages in Ukraine's Zhytomyr region and parts of Belarus ended up with significantly higher radiation levels. Over 400,000 people lived in areas where soil radiation was 15 times above safe limits. Thyroid cancers and congenital disabilities increased for decades after.
Chernobyl's reactors powered the woodpecker system. After the meltdown, the radar went silent, but its effects on the atmosphere and the people remained. It shows that humans learned how to redirect disasters, but not how to prevent them. We've circled this planet 10 times now. It's time we look closer, initiating descent to 50,000 feet.
The ship's propulsion cores were so quiet that they only hummed as they descended.
Finally, we might see something extraordinary down there.
Her enthusiasm was infectious, causing the more serious crew members to crack small smiles. As they breached the upper atmosphere, the ship's sensors began to receive new data streams. Inanna, the crew's pragmatic strategist with a sharp mind and an unyielding demeanor, leaned forward, her eyes narrowing as she studied Asgra's readouts. The contamination levels are off the charts. It's worse than we imagined. Astros's data revealed Earth's scarred surface in greater detail. Vast wastelands stretched as far as the eye could see, punctuated by the crumbling remnants of once great cities. Once teeming with millions of people and dominated by towering skyscrapers reaching for the heavens, these cities are now abandoned. The inhabitants had either died in catastrophic events, acts of war, severe weather, environmental pollution, cancers, heart failure, or fled to rural areas in search of survival. As they descended further, the true extent of Earth's devastation became apparent. Toxic clouds swirled around abandoned factories, their corroded shells leaking poisonous effluents into barren soil. Rivers ran with unnatural colors, greens and purples slicked with chemical residues that shimmered ominously under what little sunlight pierced through the haze. Enlil's eyes remained fixed on Astros's data screens, and his jaw was tight as he absorbed what lay before them. The weight of the ship's secret mission pressed upon him. He knew he couldn't reveal its true purpose to his crew yet. The sight before them was undeniably shocking.
Those must be the remnants of their power plants.
In 2025, the Earth had over 8 billion Homo sapiens, and now 200 years later, I don't see much signs of life.
The question hung in the air, unanswered. Enlil's mind raced, formulating strategies that bordered on precognition. The crew exchanged glances, sensing the undercurrent of secrets beneath the surface of the ship. The true horror of Earth's fate unfolded before them as they continued their descent. The once blue planet now bore the scars of humanity's hubris, the collateral damage of unanticipated consequences of unchecked progress and environmental neglect.
We've seen enough at this altitude. Prepare for a closer approach. We need to understand what happened here, no matter the cost.
His words carried the weight of command, leaving no room for dissent. The ship plunged deeper into Earth's tortured atmosphere, its crew united in their mission, yet divided by the secrets between them. As they descended into the abyss of humanity's folly, the test of their resolve and Enlil's leadership was about to begin.